If someone were to put before you the brand Nike and the term human rights, your mind would probably flash back to the 1990s when Nike was criticized for its sweatshop and child labor practices in Asia. Because of these actions, Nike became known as the poster child for corporate villainy. Globalization of corporations and the growth of transnational chains of production mean that transnational corporations have the capacity to significantly impact on human rights around the globe. As the International Bar Association points out, there is a growing recognition that businesses should have human rights risk management programs in place to monitor their impact. Increasingly, lawyers are being asked to advise these corporations on their human rights responsibilities. This has prompted the question, should lawyers, in particular in-house counsels, act as the conscience of a transnational corporation? Most often, transnational businesses request advice on the meaning of the United Nations Guiding Principles on business and human rights. The guiding principles make clear that they are not legally binding and do not have the force of law. They can be known as being soft law in that there are no criminal sanctions or fines for breaching them, but there are potential political ramifications. The International Bar Association recommends that lawyers should take an active role in consulting key stakeholders of such corporations and should act to influence such clients to avoid or mitigate human rights impacts. The association considers lawyers to be, firstly, advisors or representatives of the corporations, secondly, respected professionals to third parties, and thirdly, indispensable participants in the administration of justice. Because of this threefold personality, the association states that lawyers should always consider their functions in the broad society and act in accordance with their conscience when dealing with such clients. Although the views proffered by the association may meet the worldly aims of the guiding principles, they are not clear in defining the lawyer's practical role with their corporate clients. Robert Webber, IBM's former general counsel, argued in 2013 that a lawyer is not the conscience of the corporation. Webber stated that the argument that lawyers should be a company's conscience was flawed, as it rested on the assumption that lawyers are inherently better at identifying and assessing moral wrongs. His advice to lawyers was to always give objective, firm legal advice and make sure that you separate your legal advice from business advice. He considered that when legal and business advice are blended, the legal advice may not be taken as seriously as it should be. Although Webber's advice of remaining objective is pertinent, his views do not answer the argument in a world of glowing international principles that lack legal force. A series of practitioner interviews undertaken by Regan and Hall revealed that there is no consistent approach being adopted by lawyers regarding the giving of advice on human rights. I propose another way of approaching this dilemma. Firstly, we must realize that the role of the in-house lawyer has changed and is often that of a trusted advisor now. As Regan and Hall explain, non-binding international standards have a role in shaping binding domestic law and may even represent future legal standards. With a background of legal knowledge and an ability to survey risks and solve problems, lawyers can give meaningful advice to corporations on their human rights impacts and suggest solutions to potential risks. Secondly, despite the fact that a lawyer is entrusted as the wise counsellor of the corporation, he or she should not be the one and only conscience of the corporation. As Tribunal examines, such responsibility should be collaboratively shared among the whole of the corporation. This approach allows the global lawyer to meaningfully assist the corporation to abide by international human rights without unilaterally expecting them to be the moral compass of the corporation.